doing fine. Now listen. Now, where were we? All right, let's go, everybody. Now, listen. Now, more than ever. That's all right. Hold up, everybody. Hold up. Now, more than ever, you don't need just another politician who talks the talk. And you don't need just people yelling at each other. Right now, what we need is somebody who's got a proven track record, a leader who has walked the walk, somebody who's fought for the people of Massachusetts every single day. Because I don't need to tell you, we're in tough times right now. We're still dealing with an economic crisis unlike any that we've seen since the Great Depression. It's done a lot of damage to so many people. And even before that storm hit with its full fury, middle-class families were weathering tough economic times throughout this past decade, working harder and harder just to keep up. So people are frustrated and they're angry. And they have every right to be, I understand. Because progress is slow. And no matter how much progress we make, it can't come fast enough for the people who need help right now, today. But here's the thing. You know how politics is. At times like this, there are always some who are eager to exploit that pain and anger to score a few political points. There are always folks who, think that the best way to solve these problems are to demonize others. And unfortunately, we're seeing some of that politics in Massachusetts today. Now, I've heard about some of the ads that Martha's opponent's running. He's driving his truck around the Commonwealth. And he says that he gets you, that he fights for you, that he'll be an independent voice. And, I don't know him. He may be a perfectly nice guy. I don't know his record. But I don't know whether he's been fighting for you up until now. But here's what I know. Here's what I do know is I do want somebody who's independent. I want a senator who's always going to put the interests of working folks all across Massachusetts first. Ahead of party, ahead of special interests. And here's what I know is that Martha has done so. She's got a track record of doing so. I know there are things on which she and I disagree. I respect her for that. She doesn't just call herself independent. She has the character to be independent. So I hear her opponent is calling himself an independent. Well, you've got to look under the hood. Because, what you learn makes you wonder. Now, if as a legislator, he voted with the Republicans 96% of the time, 96% of the time, it's hard to suggest that he's going to be significantly independent from the Republican agenda. When you listen closely to what he's been saying, it's very clear that he's going to do exactly the same thing in Washington. So, look, forget the ads. Everybody can run slick ads. Forget the truck. Everybody can buy a truck. Here's the question you need to ask yourself before you go to vote on Tuesday, Massachusetts. When the chips are down, when the tough votes come, on all the fights that matter to middle-class families across this Commonwealth, Who is going to be on your side? That's what this race on Tuesday is all about. Because it's easy to say you're independent and you're going to bring people together and all that stuff until you actually have to do it. And when the vote comes on energy, and there's a choice between standing with big oil or fighting for the clean energy jobs of the future, whose side are you going to be on? Martha's going to be on your side. When the vote comes on taxes, and there's a choice between giving more tax breaks to the wealthiest few and corporations that ship American jobs overseas, or giving them to the middle class and businesses that create jobs here, who's going to be on your side? Let me just say, by the way, because you'll hear a lot of stuff about taxes. You always do, every election. Last year, I kept a campaign promise to cut taxes for 95% of working Americans. Cut taxes. And these members of Congress right here voted to cut taxes here in the Commonwealth, not just for individuals, but also for small businesses. We cut taxes for middle-class families. That was part of the Recovery Act. Now, you better check under the hood, because from everything I see, Martha's opponent would have voted against those taxes. He would have voted against those tax cuts. Would have voted against those tax cuts. When it comes to taking on the worst practices of an insurance industry that routinely denies the American people the care they need and leaves too many families one serious illness away from bankruptcy, who's going to be on your side? You know she will, because she always has. When the vote comes on financial regulatory reform and the choices between standing with Wall Street or standing up for common sense reforms that will protect consumers and protect our economy from future crises, who's going to be on your side? Now, we learned the answer to that one this week. Now, keep in mind, Democrats in Congress voted for tax cuts for middle-class families and businesses. Now, what we're proposing is to make sure the taxpayers get their money back from the rescue that we had to engage in at the beginning of this year, thanks to the bad regulatory policies of the previous administration. And so we asked Martha's opponent, what's he going to do? And he decided to park his truck on Wall Street. Now, it was your tax dollars that saved Wall Street banks from their own recklessness, keeping them from collapsing and dragging our entire economy down with them. But today, those same banks are once again making billions in profits and on track to hand out more money in bonuses than ever before, while the American people are still in a world of hurt. Now, we've actually recovered most of your money already, but I don't think most of your money is good enough. We want all our money back. We're going to collect every dime. That's why I proposed a new fee on the largest financial firms, to pay the American people back for saving their skin. But instead of taking the side of working families in Massachusetts, Martha's opponents are already walking in lockstep with Washington Republicans, opposing that fee, defending the same fat cats who are getting rewarded for their failure. Now, there's a big difference here. It gives you a sense of who the respective candidates are going to be fighting for, despite the rhetoric, despite the television ads, despite the truck. Martha's going to make sure you get your money back. She's got your back. Her opponent's got Wall Street's back. Let me be clear, bankers don't need another vote in the United States Senate. They've got plenty. Where's yours? That's the question. And it wouldn't just be any vote. We know that on many of the major questions of our day, a lot of these measures are going to rest on one vote in the United States Senate.